name is Michelle Puzo, and I am the Executive Director at Your Community Cares.
Hi, I'm Kristen Grenier, a Senior Care Advisor, and I run guidance for senior care.
And we thought it would be really important to talk to you about technology and how to break down the barriers of technology to make sure that you are not fearful or misguided or unaware of all that it has to offer.
We actually met with some gentlemen this morning who are anywhere from aged 78 to 89, 90, and they have all taught themselves how to use the smartphones to help keep themselves connected to each other, their families, their doctors, and really what we found interesting was it helps them find out what's going on in their immediate environment so they can go out to different things like dances or get-togethers at the senior centers. And one gentleman was showing me all the different cucumber pickling recipes that he was able to kind of bring up and he was able to win a local contest from one of the recipes that he used. So there's so many beneficial helpful, uses for these phones, and they were even telling me this morning that a couple of them, it took a long time to get over the fear because they didn't know how to manipulate it to their advantage. Even some simple things like a password or how to flip back and forth from Google to make a phone call. So I think that's why we kind of thought this might be beneficial for some.
Yeah, so we have put together a tech series and we're going to have some guest speakers along the way. We're going to have a bunch of episodes, so if you want to keep tuning in and hearing more about how you could use your new device at home. Say a family member has sent you a device and you're nervous or you haven't had any training on it. Our goal is to really impact people that are at home that may not have been connected to the connectivity program, the affordable connectivity program. And that's really something that can be helpful for folks that are on a fixed income, would like to use the internet, but it's been too expensive for them. The affordable connectivity program that the carriers are offering is a big savings for folks. And you can find that right on the state website. But that's a really great way for people to have a savings, get connected so that you can work on your banking. If you wanted to get more health information, say you wanted to look up preventative treatments or medications, you wanted to see the latest Reader's Digest, or you wanted to see the almanac, all of these things are online. You don't realize how much you can actually see on this little device, a smartphone or a tablet or a computer, what's readily available.
And on top of the informational things that you can get, it's also helpful to stay connected with your families. I know a lot of people during the past few years with the pandemic were able to keep in touch with families using something called FaceTime, which any of these smartphones can do. And I think one of our segments, we will go over that too, so you can stay connected with your friends and families that may not be local to you. And one of the things that Michelle just mentioned, I was talking to another family about, they used the internet and the local programming to find providers that oversaw specific diseases or illnesses. So they were really able to find providers in their network that were able to walk them through some medical concerns, and they found that pretty invaluable.
Yeah, that's super important. And your health is your wealth, as everybody says, that, as you get older, waking up in the morning, putting your feet on the ground and saying, yes, we have another day ahead of us, and really trying to charge forward to eating the right foods, being connected, companionship, trying to strike out the loneliness that's happening in many of these rural communities to try to get people connected. So Your Community Cares is one of those ways that we are connecting volunteers, going directly to people's homes so that we can educate them on technology. We can have volunteers bring people to doctor's appointments or grocery stores. There's just a multitude of things that we're trying to do to help individuals. And this series is really aimed at breaking down the barriers of technology. So thanks for tuning in, and we hope that we're able to educate you a little bit more if you do have a device at home, and we're able to help figure out how to make it easier for you to operate.
One of the things I'd like to add quickly before we wrap up, if you are watching this and you do have time to volunteer, please reach out to Your Community Cares. The gentleman I was speaking with this morning are saying they're sorely lacking volunteers in our local area and pretty much statewide. So if you have some time and you really want to do something helpful that'll make your community better and sort of give you that uplifting feeling, please reach out to Michelle at Your Community Cares.
Thank you for that plug.
Well, you're welcome, but it's sorely needed.
So what is a smartphone, Kristen?
So a smartphone, and I always laugh about it, that my phone is actually smarter than I am. But what it is a small laptop. You can do almost anything on these gadgets that you can do on a tabletop computer or a laptop computer. You can do everything from Google searches to keeping a calendar to keeping all of your contacts. These do videos and pictures. That's been something a lot of folks found really useful with this as well, is to just keep their photo albums and to share pictures back and forth between families.
So I just want to mention that, you know, when you are thinking of a phone, there's so many different phones out there. There's Apple and Androids. There could be the state issued or the federal programs that you have a phone with that might have limited
True.
hours or minutes, or, you know, there's all different phones out there. So we're not saying that we are, you know, experts with any specific phone. We just want to give general information that we hope is helpful to people that are watching. I happen to have an Apple phone and I use Verizon, and that's what's funny is that we all get in our own groove of using certain things on our phones. So Kristen might be using a different app than I might be using. I might be using a different app than she's using. So it'll be interesting to kind of hear what you're using more, because I am certainly kind of rigid in the way I use my phone.
And you just said a word that we might need to give a definition to. So an app. An app is short for application, and they named it application because that's how it's coded to work within the phones and within any smartphone. I don't know enough to go into the details about that, but when someone says an app, that's what they're referring to. I tend to use the Google Maps. So there is an application, a button on my phone that's just for Google Maps. When I first moved to Manchester, I didn't know how to get anywhere. So I Google mapped myself even to come here today to make sure I was going in the right direction. So when someone says an app, that's what I'm not sure if you can see, but that's what all these little square pictures are. And when you push on them, that will open up to a full screen where you can Google search or do whatever it is you're trying to do.
So if a loved one was to send you this fancy smartphone and you have a smartphone at home and you're like, well, I only know how to make a phone call. I don't know how to text, or I don't know how to take a picture. This is what we want to show you and teach you of taking time, being patient with it. You're not going to do anything wrong. Even if you delete an app, you can go to the App Store and you can download it again. So we want to try to let you know that take a deep breath, take a second, and explore. It is endless. If you want to play games, if you want to do crossword puzzles, if you want to keep your mind active with doing activities, there's that. There is not just movies and games, but there is learning that can also happen. You could check out Pinterest and see the latest, bedroom set that you'd like to explore for the future. So it's endless.
Right, and you were saying what I tend to use the most, the three things that I seem to click on the most is my personal banking app so that I can keep track of where I'm at. And one of the things we will talk about in another series is the unfortunate concern about scams and things like that. So I like to make sure that my account is where it is. Second to that is I use my calculator. That's always on my home screen, even if I'm trying to figure out a tip at the restaurant, or what a discount I would get on my next gallon of gas if I do something a certain way. And then Google Maps and actually Google. So
What is Google?
What is Google? Google, that's a good question. I wish I had developed Google. Google is the world's encyclopedia at a push of a button. You can type in the Google application any question in the world, pretty much. Something as simple as what is a smartphone? And now that being said, once you get familiar with Google, if you forget how to unlock your password, or if you're looking to see if there's a particular application out there that might benefit you, you can actually type that into the Google search bar and a whole list will come up. So Google can really connect you to any and all information, I think is the best way I can describe it.
Let's talk about, you get the phone,
Yep.
right? You unbox it. So you get it, it's in its box, you open it up, and you have to turn it on. So there's these little buttons on the side that you hold down, and it opens up the phone. You can charge it. Comes with a charger.
Yeah.
And
I grabbed one.
these latest Apples do not have a plug, so you could have a headset or
Like the earphones,
Yeah.
the ones with the cord. Now
everything
they're
is
separate.
cordless.
Right.
So it's all Bluetooth. And what is Bluetooth? So there's
So-
a lot to dive into.
Yes, and so not to be simplistic, but I do think that's something that we will go through is truly when you get your phone, how do you turn it on? How do you get the picture to come up? What do you need to do to open to where all your applications are? How do you go to settings to make sure that you are connected to the Wi-Fi? How do you make sure that you have a safety setting on here for your password? So that if you leave your phone on a table at a restaurant, no one can get in and get your information. So there's a lot of little steps I think that we would like to cover as well, so that you feel comfortable when your family sends you one of these and wants you to be connected.
So the settings is probably the first thing that you would want to go to. In the settings, you will find Wi-Fi. So in your house, if you are connected to the Affordable Connectivity Program or any other Wi-Fi that's coming into your home, or if you go somewhere and you're outside of your home, you need to look at that Wi-Fi button, click that button, and find the network that's in your house. And then you would put in the password to make sure that you're connected to that network in your house. Or if you go outside of that house, a lot of places do have free Wi-Fi that you can connect to. If you're at a coffee shop or a Target or somewhere, you can find free Wi-Fi usually.
And then right below Wi-Fi normally is the Bluetooth button. So if you are using any wireless devices, talking on your phone in the car obviously is not something that we're supposed to do, but there are ways to connect your phone to your car so that you're hands-free when you're driving. But for those of you who want to listen to maybe a book on tape or listen to music, you do need to have your Bluetooth on so that it can connect to your earpiece, what they call the earbuds. I think there's a couple different terms for them, but that's the one that comes to mind.
Yeah, and they also connect to hearing aids. So hearing aids are now using Bluetooth. So when I call my dad and the phone call is coming in, it's going directly into his ear. My mom cannot hear what I'm saying because it's going directly into his hearing aid. So then he says, well, I've got to put you on speaker because your mom wants to hear what we're saying. So it's quite funny to realize that the hearing aids are getting more technology, and it's great to see that the technology is growing in the hearing aids as well.
And it's beneficial for everyone. I think, as we dig into this a little bit more, there's a couple more spots in the settings section that will be helpful and fun. You can set your home screen to be a picture of your kids or your grandkids or your favorite pet or a vacation. You also have a space where the safety measures for your password. Some of these newer phones you can actually turn on and off just by putting it up to your face, which I know some people find easier than remembering a password. There are some phones that you can turn on just by touching your finger. So a couple of those might be good to talk about as we go, just for different safety measures too, and for ease, because you don't have to remember 27 passwords.
Yeah, that's why I always have the face feature so that my children can't go to my app and then, do something that I don't want them to do. So they have to come over to me and say, Mom, unlock your phone. So that's great.
Yeah.
But notifications is something that, say you're out and about and you want to make sure that you don't get distracted. Like right now I have mine on Do Not Disturb. So you can set it so that you're not being notified all the time, because sometimes we're inundated with so much information. The emails are coming through, the texts are coming through, the phone calls, and sometimes you just need to block it out. So if you wanted to be sleeping and you just want to set your notifications to I'm sleeping, it's really handy that you can set it to only notify you when you want to be notified.
Right. I was thinking of even, you're going to church on a Sunday and you just want to throw it in your bag so you have it, or your back pocket, or however you carry it. You can just click it so you've got that 2 hours at church where you're not interrupted. And that made me think of sounds and haptics, which is the next kind of button down. But that will help you figure out how loud you want a notification to be. Also, you can change the sounds for your phone, for your ringtone. I have a certain sound when it's my sister that calls. I have a certain sound when it's my aunt, because when it's my aunt, I have to make sure I answer it because she's 89 and alone down in Stonington. So there's, again, some really kind of helpful little tricks to making these more helpful for you and to get through the day. I believe there is also the display. You can change the size of the words. So if you're getting a text message from your grandkid telling you when the next soccer game is, you can have the text be very bold. I personally have it as large as I can get it because I need reading glasses all the time for everything. So it's very big. So if I need to look quickly, I can see. So you can really change it to what you are comfortable with. And then there's a brightness setting as well, which helps.
Yeah, the accessibility feature in the settings is really important for people with any vision deficits, hearing deficits. You can increase the font, you can have the voice over, so your phone, you can be talking to your phone and telling it what to do. Rather than clicking on all of the apps, you could say to your phone to do this and do that. And so under the accessibility tab of the settings, you would want to go in and really see what works for you and what you think would be most helpful.
And again, this is going to take you all some time. So please don't get frustrated when you're handed something like this. And it's not something that you grew up with, not like the kids of today who basically are born with these in their hands. I still have my nephew help me with a couple of different things because I haven't learned everything yet. So just try to be patient, ask for help if you don't understand something or you can't get it to work the way that you want it to. There's also, just as a quick last thought, there's the emergency SOS button that I know Apple phones have. I don't know some of the other ones, but I imagine most do. They have a notification on your home screen and within the settings that will automatically call 911 in your area for you. So that's just another kind of nice little, side benefit, for lack of a better word.
And some people like to turn off their device at night. Some people like to keep their device on all the time. Just know that if your device is off, you're still going to get the notification. So if Kristen was to text me, as soon as I turn that phone back on, I would see that text. It's not going to
make it go away or make it
Yeah.
stop.
Everything would still come through the phone, even if it's turned off. It would let you know if you had voicemails. As soon as you turn it back on, you would see the notifications that would allow you to see what's new on your phone.
Exactly. And of course, that's something that we will get to as I was talking about the different little pictures and the different little apps. Most phones that are considered a smartphone, no matter the brand, have the little picture for telephone and the little picture for text messaging. And to get your voicemail would be something that we would kind of go through because you need to tap on the telephone application. And then there's a few more little settings at the bottom. The nice thing is most of the pictures are pretty self-explanatory still. So you would see your voicemail is a little telephone with a voice coming out of it. So you would need to hit that to retrieve your voice messages. And I do imagine we'll go into this a little bit further as we go along.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, there's just so many things I'm looking at, and I just keep thinking to myself, to take the time to really go into each of these tabs can give you a better ability to track things like your health.
Mm-hmm.
There is a health app that lets you know when you're walking, say you go out for a walk, it's going to tell you how many steps you've done. It's going to tell you how long, so if you've gone a quarter of a mile or a half a mile. And it's amazing if you keep this phone in your pocket and you're out shopping and you come home and you wonder, I wonder how long I walked today. And it will show you how many steps and how long you've gone. And that is really great. So when you go to the doctor and you're able to show, I am actually increasing my activity level without even knowing it.
You made me think to look at mine, and mine automatically captured that I walked about a mile inside today. So that means while I was doing chores this morning, having coffee, helping Michelle set up here, that was about a mile that I walked. I have a dog that I have to walk, it seems like every 10 minutes. But so far today, I've done almost 3 miles of outdoor walking, and it lists all of that. So as Michelle said, if your doctor's concerned about something, you have a really good tracker right within your phone. I don't have it, but there is a way to monitor your heart rate now as well. And many diabetics have the new, I don't want to call it a medication because it's more or less a device you put on your arm that tracks your sugars, and it tracks it right in your phone. So again, when you go to have your doctor's appointment, you can say, look, this is what the last month has been as far as my sugars. So again, just the helpful and health benefits that these can offer is truly amazing. It really is.
The technology is growing because we know that's the way the world is going. So we want to empower people at home to use the technology. If you have it at home, you could go to yourcommunitycares.org. That's where you could sign up to try to have a volunteer come to your house and help you. If you need a couple additional training, we are going to go over different devices as we're going along, but turning on the device And then looking at that for that app store, and that app store for an Apple will be where you can download these apps. So say, like Kristen was talking about, you wanted to use the Google Suite. So from the Google Chrome to the Google Drive, as a business owner, that's where I use.
And I'm learning now from you. I didn't have it all downloaded, and now I have Google Suite so that she and I can share documents as we track how we're doing this for you guys.
Yeah, it really makes life a lot easier if you're able to use some of these apps. A little bit different topic is saving contacts. So say you get this new phone and someone calls you. Well, it makes it really easy that you're able to click add a new contact, so that way you're saving everybody's phone numbers, because I do remember my phone number from growing up because I had to, but I don't know anybody else's phone number because it's saved in my phone. And
I have to laugh. I don't know always if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I shouldn't probably say this out loud, but my number password that I use for some things is the last 4 of my childhood phone number, because it's the only number that I actually remember. And I remember my first high school boyfriend's home number. But I couldn't tell you my sister's number right now, her cell phone, not to save my life.
And it's all saved in here,
yep.
which is great. So we want to have people, if you want to set your alarm clock, right? So you want to get up, you've got something special on Sunday, you're going to go to church or something else, you want to make sure that you're using that alarm clock. Or
it'll set reminders for you too. Like I have a 5 o'clock event to go to tonight. I set myself a 4 o'clock reminder so that I can call my friend and call my family and make sure that we're all meeting tonight at 5 o'clock. So even simple things like that, if you know you have a doctor's appointment this afternoon, but you're nervous you might forget, or you need a half hour to get ready, you can just set a little gentle reminder in your phone. You can either have it say something to you or it'll beep. Sometimes it'll just flash, however you want to set it up.
Yeah, I think most people don't realize that once you have the smartphone, that means you can search the internet. So I have been recently to a couple of our community members' homes that we're helping, and they didn't realize that the smartphone is like a computer, like we talked about. It is a replacement. It is a computer right here in your hands. So you could search anything from the weather to the maps to Google Earth. You could look at Italy if you wanted to. You can look all over the world, what's going on in Africa or India or anywhere else, and really understand that outside of where you are, what's going on in the world. From, getting news on news channels, it's really endless what people can do on these things if you'd like to.
Something else I just thought of looking at what I have available to me with winter coming, the gas company, CNG, and Eversource, I know, United Illuminating down the other end of the state, they have an application as well that you can have on your phone that, let's say, heaven forbid, the power goes out, or there's a road closure because of downed wires, Cox Cable as well. They will give you alerts as to when the power will be restored, or any upcoming changes. I had a little problem where I was living last year with the gas company, and they would constantly send us updates letting us know, when things were going to be back on track. So even just kind of day-to-day things like that, I have found helpful. I have the Channel 3 app and the Channel 4 app just to kind of get the different news things that are going on locally, and of course the weather, check the weather every day.
Yeah, and I love using the Notes app so that you could write down people's birthdays. You could write little notes to yourself for reminders, or you could write a book, you could write a poem, you could write a journal. And that could be talk texting. So that doesn't mean that you have to type it all out. You could talk to your device. You could open the Notes tab, click a new note, and say, anything you want, and it will dictate it directly into the phone so that it would save it for you and you would have it for the future. So I like to do social media. I put my, I talk text whatever I'm going to say because I'm usually tight for time. So I text it into my notes, and then I'm able to save that and put it on my different social media platforms.
That's a very good idea.
It's time, it makes it really easy because it spell checks it for you. Sometimes I still have a spelling error due to my own ignorance, but it really does make things a little bit easier as you're using that.
Two of the other things that I just thought of too, as far as applications that might be beneficial, especially with the upcoming weather changes, things like Instacart or Amazon or Uber and Lyft. You can do all of that right from your phone, no matter where you are. I sat at the grocery store the other day. I sat at the doctor's office the other day typing up my grocery list because I knew I wasn't going to have time to get to the store, and my car was having work done. I was able to just put my order in quick, and I only got 4 or 5 things, but that was such a time saver to have that delivered, and to be able to do it while I was sitting at the doctor's office was really helpful.
Yeah.
And if you're struggling with transportation and you do need to get somewhere relatively quickly, just knowing that you have those couple extra apps in here that you can check their schedules or order an Uber driver to take you to and from, that all can be done from here as well. And of course, same with Amazon. A lot of us, most days I do at least one order from Amazon, and they have their own app that makes it incredibly easy to get something that you might need and then delivered within the next day or two, depending. So it really can be beneficial.
Yeah, and we don't want to overwhelm you with everything that we can do with our phones because we're really excited about, knowing, even thinking about all that we can do. But translation is another thing that your phone can do. So we're going to break down each episode a little bit more and a little bit more how to email somebody, how to really do some more of these things. But for today, we are so excited to be able to start our series. This is episode 1 of our tech series, and we're excited that you were able to tune in today, and hopefully we're able to educate more people on how to use technology at home.
And we look forward to seeing you again.